meeting to order and start by acknowledging that we are on the traditional sacred territory of the Algonquin people in Ottawa. And here where I am sitting in front of the Eagles, the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Chinantan nations. The committee is meeting to continue its study of support for Indigenous communities through a second wave of COVID-19. Once again, as we start the meeting, there's a selector in the bottom center of your screen, which looks like a globe. And when you select it, you select the language in which you wish to communicate, either English or French. And when speaking, please speak slowly and clearly. Once again, our translation is the issue. And so that's why we need the correct microphone hookups and the clear speech so that our interpreters can properly interpret. Because if we don't have the interpretation, we can't properly, by committee protocol, continue the meeting. So keep that in mind. And with us today, you, by the way, keep your microphone on mute until you are speaking. With us today by video conference for the first hour are the following witnesses. From the West Coast, Jason Alsop, the president of the Council of the Haida Nation. Dr. Shannon McDonald, First Nations Health Authority, acting chief medical officer. And Eric Blaney and Dylan Johnson, the Slamamon Nation Executive Council members. So welcome to all. And Mr. Alsop, I invite you to begin, and you have 6 minutes to make your opening presentation. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My Haida name is Gagwis. Jason Alsop, president of the Haida Nation, and thank you for the invitation to speak to the committee today. As president of the Haida Nation, I speak from our experience here with COVID-19 on Haida Gwaii, and want to share a bit of our experiences and some recommendations on responding to the second wave. First and foremost, I think, what is really important in our response and recognition is that, and when responding to the health and well-being of our people and all people in our territory, that there is the recognition of the inherent title and rights in the whole territory that we're responsible for looking after, as well as everybody who lives within it. In the recommendations or the information from the BC Center for Disease Control site, one of the most important things identified is the need for intergovernmental cooperation and coordination. And in our experience, we found this to be effective and something that needs greater support to support the individuals who have to carry out this work of bringing together all the different jurisdictions. Here we have our territorial governance, our band council governance, our municipal neighbors that many of us share resources and travel between each other's communities, provincial jurisdiction, health authority jurisdictions, as well as federal jurisdiction. And I think that underscores this need for cooperation and greater support for that, for leadership and those who are bringing people together and reducing the risks by cutting out gaps. With that, I think should include training as well on emergency response for everybody, and to ensure there's capacity to share the workload and prevent the burnout. Many in small communities wear many hats and are asked to do a lot. I think this also goes for communications efforts. It takes a lot of work and effort to align and share communications, as well as on the business, for the business community and organizations to work together to better respond and better support one another. And all of this takes great energy. There's also the need for personal supports to households and individuals to be able to make sure they can access internet and connectivity. Some who may not be connected, that's an additional cost. So support for accessing internet and cellular data. as well as the ability to actually have laptops and computers, which many in our communities don't. So I think it's really important to find a way that we approach the pandemic on a territorial, not just a community level, and not have our communities feel locked up and put on the reserve only, and that we're able to work federally, provincially, and with our Indigenous jurisdictions and with our neighbors, which we share communities and resources. I think in terms of opening in a safe way, again, we need to really look after our elders and most vulnerable and provide as much support as we can to ensure they can still be active members of the community. And I think to support local measures, regional measures that the Indigenous governments, working with others, can implement. Here on Haida Gwaii, we did put in a 14-day isolation requirement for those coming to the archipelago, and that requires great support and coordination. We've also think it's important for permitting and registration systems, travel declarations that allow you to provide consent for those to enter the territory in a safe way and set the expectations. And I think there's every lot of interest in rapid testing and how we can work together on having that available, if there's a willingness to open in a safe way. For resiliency and equitable, sustainable recovery plans, I think it's really important that we find ways to reduce our dependence on outside sources and continue to create self-sufficiency for Indigenous nations and communities. I think food security supports growing food and continuing to support traditional harvesting, hunting, and fishing opportunities, as well as processing. Bulk buying and purchasing power to reduce the costs. And one thing here, again, in our island setting, in our remote setting, we've through our essential work permitting process realized the amount of reliance there is on outside professionals, essential workers, nurses, trades. And if we can implement training programs and ways to stop those gaps and that leakage, we can become more self-sufficient, as well as investing in housing and infrastructure, clean water, and trail networks and other opportunities for people to get outside and be active in a safe way and balance their mental health and physical health, and continue to look forward. What are our future opportunities to come out of this pandemic and adapt and evolve to this new world and this new reality? And much more to share, but I think in terms of my first 6 minutes, I'll stop there. Hawa, thank you.
Well, thank you very much for noting the time, and thank you for those remarks. Next, we have Dr. Shannon McDonald. Dr. McDonald, please go ahead for 6 minutes.
Thank you very much. I'm honored to be asked to present to you. I come to you today from Sayut First Nation, where I live as a guest. I'm originally from Manitoba, Métis Anishinaabe, and I work for the First Nations Health Authority, which means I work for the nations of BC. First Nations look at COVID-19 in many ways through the historic lens of previous pandemics and the impacts on the population. And considering the existing health inequities that are inevitable, it seems the funding that we have received is often stated as not being proportionate to the needs, especially in the context of not only the COVID public health emergency, but in BC, especially the opioid public health emergency, where we've had significant losses and disproportionate impact on our population. But at the same time, First Nations, recognizing their self-determination and their ability to make decisions about their own people and their own community, have taken part in tripartite relationships. And I want to recognize the support and partnership of our federal and provincial colleagues through this. But as we move through and beyond COVID, we need to ensure that the actions and responses remain rooted in tripartite agreements, governance recognition, and the relationships that have been built. And we have to find ways to build from health innovation and leadership demonstrated by BC First Nations and continue that on to battle systemic barriers and reduce those health inequities. As of yesterday in BC, there were over 27,000 positive tests for COVID. Among those are 956 First Nations individuals, 75% of whom live off reserve. So our funding is focused primarily on the on-reserve population. That's the way the envelopes are based. Only 44 of those active cases right now are near community. But over the weekend, we had an additional 58 cases among First Nations people. We've suffered 13 deaths thus far, which is not significant when you look at the numbers in the world, but it is certainly significant for the communities and the families who have been impacted. And in the context of the opioid emergency, we're looking at the unintended consequences of some of the public health actions that have gone forward. Lockdowns are dangerous for individuals with opioid substance use disorders who are being told to stay home, stay alone. Programs and services that could support them in other times are shut down or less accessible during the COVID emergency. So it has been extremely challenging to support people who are using alone in their homes. FNHA has played an active role in the development of regional plans to implement a partnership with the province, the rural, remote, and Indigenous community COVID-19 collaborative response framework. It doesn't fit in an invitation. So this is a collaboration with regional health authority, provincial officials, and health agencies. And in addition to that work and the collective response, we have also developed lines of communication about those reciprocal accountabilities, where we constantly need to be speaking to communities. We hold regular webinars with health directors, with leadership, and with community members. There never seems to be enough communication. That's probably one of our biggest challenges. And Mr. Alsop spoke to the issues of connectivity. And for some of our communities, participating in those communications is increasingly challenging. We recognized, for example, that there were challenges in accessing primary care during the COVID emergency, as doctors who would normally travel to communities stopped doing that. We have set up a virtual Doctor of the Day program, allowing for telehealth to provide those services to community. We've also included a virtual substance use and psychiatry service as part of that. And it's been very important. Knowing my time limitation, I can't help but recognize the work that's being done right now in the context of the racism investigation that is front and center in BC, working very hard to overcome those issues in healthcare service delivery. There is a report, of course, Mary Ellen Chappelle-Lafon's report is expected anytime, and there will be a significant resource challenge to respond to that. And one of the things that we're really concerned about right now is burnout of our frontline workers, burnout of our leadership, burnout of our FNHA staff. Aw, somebody has a baby. So yeah. I think we need to look at that in context and understand, for example, in a meeting yesterday, an elder said to me, I don't want to take the prioritized immunization. I was saying we're going to prioritize First Nations among the immunization programs. And he said, no, they're just going to make us guinea pigs. We're not priorities. We're going to use this new vaccine on First Nations people to see what happens, and then use it on everybody else. So we really need to understand the context we're working within, the the fears that people have, and be able to respond to those. So
Dr. McDonald, we're at time, well over time. Thank you. And now we go to Eric Blaney and Dylan Johnson. And once again, 6 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, my name is Eric Blaney, and I'm an Executive Council member of the Tla'amin Nation. I was the fire chief and incident commander for our local community outbreak. Our nation has experienced an extensive COVID outbreak. At the time, was the largest outbreak per capita in Canada. After a funeral in the community, we ended up with 36 cases of COVID in a small community of 700 in the end of September of 2020. Our nation sprung into action. We locked down our community, making it a one-way in and one-way out to help protect not only our members, but the members of the neighboring communities. We initiated a local state of emergency, which forced the closure of all government buildings, as well as our only convenience store in the community. It was in the midst of the outbreak that we noticed the deep-rooted social issues our nation was facing, and that we needed some serious help to battle the housing, drug and alcohol, and domestic housing issues, causing our cases to rise dramatically. It was then we realized that we were in a dual pandemic, with the many opioid overdoses happening within the community. Our hunting and fishing season was significantly impacted this year. Access to cultural activities are causing some major mental wellness issues within the community. Our nation was to host tribal journeys this year, which would have seen thousands of people coming to our community, and having to cancel that has had a big impact on the wellness of our community, and that everybody was really excited to have members from both the United States and Canada coming to our community to share culture. Mental wellness of first responders and frontline workers needs to be at the forefront of the second wave. Many of us are burnt out, experiencing PTSD from the first wave outbreak, and ongoing access to financial help to those who are off work due to burnout and PTSD is greatly needed. During the outbreak, as an incident commander, funding was the last thing on my mind going into the first few days. But after about 4 days, the bills were stacking up. We worked with EMBC for financial assistance and reassurance that some of our expenses would be reimbursable. The Indigenous Community Support Fund first wave funding had been expended before we even hit the second wave. And about halfway through our outbreak, our second wave funding hit the bank account, which really helped us dramatically deal with the issue at hand, in that funding is non-prescriptive, in that we could spend it at our discretion. At the time of our outbreak, checkpoints weren't funded in the community, and we were seeing that the checkpoint was actually one of the best ways to control the ins and the outs of the community, and to track and monitor who was going into the community and who was coming out of the community, so that we can assist contact tracing with the health officials. So I'm really glad to see that checkpoints are now being funded through, I believe it's a federal funding that came through FNHA, which then reaches the community. I believe that putting that checkpoint in place the day after we got our positive COVID cases within our community really helped us get our numbers under control, and it really helped us stop the spread. So again, I think 6 minutes isn't much. I could go on for a couple hours here, but I will pass the mic over to my colleague, Dylan Johnson, for more.
Ikajikwi. Thank you, Eric. Good morning, and thank you, honorable members of Parliament. I can't say enough about Eric's leadership during the crisis in our community. This man worked day and night for 3 weeks plus, and we owe him a debt of gratitude as a community for sure. And we did learn a lot of things from the outbreak in our community. It revealed a lot, some good things, some bad things. Community pulled together. It was kind of really cool to see. But obviously it did expose some real issues. One thing I wanted to raise with the committee this morning is how the overcrowding in housing in our community really worsened the outbreak. We had multiple families living under one roof that were unable to quarantine and self-isolate in a safe way, and this put other loved ones at risk. It also exacerbated the outbreak. While the worst part of that outbreak is behind us, we do continue to be vulnerable, and we need investments in housing. This is why, in collaboration with our fellow self-governing Indigenous governments, or SGIGs, we have submitted a housing stimulus proposal to the Government of Canada. And the purpose of this is to, again, obviously provide affordable housing to protect our vulnerable people from coronavirus spread caused by overcrowding. It's to address the longstanding housing gap that exists in our communities and continues to contribute to poor socioeconomic outcomes. And of course, number three, importantly, is it stimulates the economy in our communities and our regions through housing investments. It's providing meaningful employment and opportunities for people to put food on the table and to get through these difficult times. So I believe some members of the committee will have heard of this proposal submitted by the self-governing Indigenous governments, and appreciate any support that can be lent towards that. But we think housing is not a problem in our communities, it is a solution in our communities. So we graciously ask for your support for this ask, which is it is $426 million in a targeted investment for safe and affordable housing in our communities, and we have the data to back up this request. I know I'm just running over time here, but welcome any questions on that piece, and appreciate the time.
And once again, to all of our guests, if there's any point that you want to make sure the committee hears and it doesn't come up in the subsequent round of questioning, please submit a written testimony, and we will be happy to incorporate it into our report. And with that, we go to the round of questioning. The first round is 6 minutes. And I apologize to my Conservative friends, I don't have the list in front of me. Who will be the first speaker for the Conservatives?
Thank you. It's myself, Kathy McLeod.
Thanks, Kathy. Please go ahead.
So first of all, I want to thank all the witnesses who are either on the front line or very close to the front line in terms of what is a very challenging time. And I think the medical health officer for British Columbia yesterday described it as not a marathon, but a triathlon with certainly no end in terms of when that third leg is. So, I can only imagine, how challenging it is. And thank you for all that you do. I'm going to start with the Dr. McDonald. And I know in the spring you talked about the testing. So I guess my question is the communities throughout British Columbia, is the testing sort of available, the Gen X with cartridges that are working with reasonably rapid turnaround for the communities that you're supporting?
Thank you for the question. Things have changed. In our work with our provincial partners, we have a goal of 24-hour turnaround for any testing that occurs within the provincial context, so regional health authorities especially. All of our nurses have been trained to gather samples, and we have offered that training to independent First Nations as well, so that the swabbing can occur at the community level and then be transported to provincial labs. Our first Gene Expert machine is up and running in Tofino, and as of yesterday, we received our first positive result in that machine, and we have two other machines that should be up and running by the end of November. There was a few, let's just say, administrative issues to get by with regard to rules and regulations around provincial labs and accreditation and the utilization of these machines in non-hospital environments. So we have worked through a lot of that. We have 4 more machines coming through our federal partnership, and we are in the process of working with communities to select the communities with the most need. So those are the Gene Expert machines. We are also looking forward to the Abbott ID machines coming, which will allow much more point of care style testing that we had originally anticipated that would occur with the Gene Expert, but it's certainly been a lot more complex than we had originally anticipated. So we look forward to whatever handheld point of care machines come forward, and are prepared to continue to work with our provincial lab partners to enable their utilization, because every single community I talk to asks me the question about when they will get theirs. And at this point, I'm not able to respond to that positively.
So I think, although it sounds like things have improved, we're sort of into the second wave, and, clearly we're not where we need to be yet. And of course that, home testing point of care, even if it's not perfect, to me, always like a tool. Again, maybe not perfect, but it's a tool that could help guide the decision makings. My next question, I can't recall, is there any on reserve long-term care facilities, and if so, how are things going in British Columbia with First Nations run long-term care?
The First Nations Health Authority does not have any long-term care facilities that we manage directly, but there are some of our communities who have elders' lodges or other facilities. So far, we have been very lucky in that we haven't identified any cases in any of those facilities, but there's certainly a high degree of caution and care. We've worked very hard, for example, to make sure that there is a backup supply of personal protective equipment in each community, and a stockpile in each region, each of the 5 regions, to assure that people on the front line get what they need to protect individuals. And those individuals, the elders, will certainly be prioritized in terms of our planning for immunization.
So I remember when the First Nations Health Authority first came into existence, and I think it was certainly from my perspective, a really positive step forward. As you look at managing the pandemic and having your role and others, would you say, what are the pros and cons of the model? I was always surprised that there was not some sort of move in other provinces to create similar structure. So would you say overall from pandemic management, it's sort of net positive, or, the goods and the bads, I guess, of having the structure that's very unique to British Columbia?
It's been a lot of work. I think the thing that's different about what's happened in BC is that we are in many ways considered the 7th health authority in the province. And that allows me to sit at tables with the other chief medical officers of the region and with Dr. Bonnie Henry, allows me to meet with deputy ministers of health, along with our CEO. So we are, because of the agreements, we are accepted in a different way as a collective voice. It's not perfect. We have communities that do not believe that they're getting what they thought they were going to get out of First Nations Health Authority, and we continue to evolve. And as I mentioned, one of our biggest challenges is the off-reserve population, and the fact that our funding is based on the on-reserve population. So both in the context of the opioid crisis and the COVID emergency, for example, we are supporting individuals.
We're running over time, Dr. McDonald. I'm
okay.
Sorry. Okay, we'll call that thought. I'm sure we can complete it. And Kathy, I did find my list, so I'm sorry about that. And Mr. Viersen, you will get your turn. But right now it's Ms. Zan for 6 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. And I'm coming to you today from the unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq in Nova Scotia. In the spring, our committee was told that the pandemic is having impacts on mental health, and you'd mentioned it as well today. Dr. Stanley Vallon of the Innu Nation Strategic COVID-19 Unit told us that the Indigenous communities are already vulnerable before this crisis, and now they're even more so during the pandemic and will be even more after. That's a quote. And then on October 27th, the Minister of Indigenous Services came to us and said that the government has invested $82.5 million to address the impacts of COVID, and also said that there is more available if necessary. So my question for you is, how is that funding being used? And how are people using the online help, the 211 numbers, the 811 numbers, the suicide supports, and the mental health online supports? Are people actually using them? Thank you.
To whom is that directed?
Any of you, you can go first if you'd like to.
I think it's important to hear from the community level, but I will say that the money that has come to the First Nations Health Authority has been utilized in terms of our virtual supports, in terms of our ability to provide traditional supports to individuals through FNHA. But I think the important piece is the transfer of those funds to the community. And I would absolutely say, and I'm sure my colleagues would say, that too little that goes too fast, and the ongoing trauma of COVID and the opioid emergency makes it challenging to keep up.
And are people actually using the online numbers to be able to call, because they're open 24/7 for anyone to call who's having problems? Anybody want to answer that? Community members? Mr. Blaney or Johnson?
I'm happy to. I'm not a health expert, but by any stretch, but the funding side of things is more of my bailiwick, and I know that we haven't received the funding yet. The reason is it got allocated to ISK, and then ISK was going to allocate it to communities based on their formula, of status Indians on reserve. And we're a modern treaty nation, self-governing, and it's not an appropriate allocation approach for us. And so it really is more revealing of another issue, which is the kind of systemic problem of how to treat our treaty partners, between funding decisions made in Canada and how it reaches the community. So currently that health allocation is tied up with ISK, and we are working with our CERNAC colleagues to try to come up with a more appropriate allocation. And once we receive that funding, then we will be able to provide those supports. I'm not sure to the extent that people are using the online support. We do have some local support. We're lucky enough to have a health center here, and there are some supports available, but I'll defer to Eric to comment more on that.
Eric?
Yeah, thank you, Dylan. So at the fire hall, we have posted all those supports, and we do have a Facebook page that we have sent out the 211, 811 numbers. We also have a list of 6 trauma counselors in the community that is funded through our local health clinic. So those were made available to us 24/7, which, halfway through our outbreak, I lost 5 firefighters who just tapped out. They just could not do it anymore. They are in receiving help, PTSD help, but there's some major concerns about how they're going to pay their bills going forward. They have to expend their sick days, and once their sick days are out, then they got to apply for sick EI, I think it is, and then their long-term disability would kick in after about 120 days. So just some more anxiety and tension to put on their plate while they're suffering from PTSD already. So I know probably 2 of them have received the online help, which then funneled them into some online counseling locally.
Sorry to hear that, and please give them our committee's condolences, but get better. And as somebody who's had mental health issues myself, I know how hard it is, but one day at a time, just one day at a time, and looking forward. So what measures should be taken to mitigate the long-term consequences of the pandemic that it might have on the mental health and well-being of Indigenous people?
Just have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
like a long-term, what should we do to mitigate it in the long term?
Mr. Alsop?
Oh, sorry, I just wanted to back up that point. I think long-term and immediate is just investment into the community. It's great to hear trauma counselors available at that level, but instead of expecting people to reach out and call these numbers and it's all a lot of noise, all the numbers and places, that we have the ability of knowing who needs help directly, and we could be proactively reaching out and trying to tailor solutions to each individual. And that's one of the benefits of us being smaller communities and having that intimate relationship, that we could proactively approach each person in the way that works best for them and have that on the ground support in the community.
Thank you very much,
Thank
and
you.
thanks, Mrs. Ann. Madam Berube,
Ms. Berube, you have 6 minutes, please. Thank you very much. I want to thank all of the witnesses who are with us virtually, of course, and I want to thank you for your efforts in your communities. I'm on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Algonquins, the Quebec Cree, and other groups. Now, you talked about Aboriginal rights, but what about food security and the problems that we've had with the harvests and so on? Can you talk about food security in your communities?
That one, if you like. So what our community did is we took our food social ceremonial allocations that we received. Again, that's a treaty right that we have. And our boats went out and harvested some prawns. We also have an allocation of 6 elk in our community per year. So we put aside, I believe it was 4 elk that would be for community distribution. So that was, again, harvested within the community and then distributed. So I believe for the proteins, we're okay for now. But again, looking at those allocations and looking at going into the second wave, we had a number of hunters who weren't able to access their hunting rights in the community. Fish season as well was significantly impacted with a very low return of sockeye. This is the 4th year we have not received any sockeye in our community. Chinook as well was very limited. We did not receive any allocation of Chinook this year. I think it was, we got 60 Chinook for the entire community of 700 plus off reserve. So our access to traditional food resources has been significantly impacted. And what I'd like to see is some additional helps for community farming. If this is going to go on long term, we have 2 ferries and our food comes in by barge. So right now, with the windstorm that we're in right now, the barge likely won't be coming in for a couple of days. So we could see the food resources and the shelves get depleted quite quickly. And I believe we should look at some long-term sustainable funding to create more farms within the communities.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that. I think we share similar situations, with food coming into Haida Gwaii through ferry, and obviously increased costs with transportation and disruptions. And I think that is really important that we're able to continue to be self-sufficient as much as possible in our growing and providing healthy vegetables and those things. But also, again, one of the challenges we encountered in the early in the spring and in the early summer is also competition for food. As BC look to open up, you're opening up luxury resort sport fishing lodges where people are coming for recreation and luxury experiences, competing directly with local people who need that protein. And we're seeing the decline in stocks everywhere, as well as hunters who are coming in. And even though the provincial health direction is to stay in your own community and not travel, so many hours from home, people are still traveling distances to come into our territory. And, it causes a lot of anxiety and around bringing the virus, but also the food competition. And so we found the checkpoints and the communication very important to get that message out there at this time that, follow provincial health, but also Indigenous jurisdiction. And there's great opportunities for a place like Haida Gwaii, though, as well, where we have introduced invasive species, black-tailed deer. And so, there could be programs or opportunities to kind of not only address food security, but also conservation concerns, similar with salmon enhancement and restoration as well of habitat.
Vous avez justement parlé tantôt.
You talked about food security earlier. You were saying that you have to take a ferry. What do you suggest that we do to help you? There's finances, but are there other solutions that you could suggest to us? In terms of food security?
So what I've done is assisted a couple nations in setting up walk-in coolers and walk-in freezers. So in some of the remote communities like Klahoose on Cortez Island or Tla'amin, we're trying to figure out how to store food and how we can backstock at least 14 days worth of food. So those communities have to go into like Campbell River and take 2 ferries, fill up a van, bring that van back to the community, and then store food for a couple of weeks. So we've actually taken the approach of looking at setting up large coolers and freezers within communities. But one issue with that is the weather. So we've now had one community lose all of their elk and their salmon this year because of a power outage after a windstorm, and they did not have power back in the community for 3 days. So they lost over 2,200 pounds of elk and probably about 300 salmon that was supposed to feed the community throughout the winter. So backup generators is another cost that was not considered through some of the funding made available by ISC through the EMAP program. And I believe that's something that needs to be looked at as backup generators for not only emergency operations centers, but also for emergency food storage and management.
Thank you very much. And next, Ms. Blaney, please go ahead for 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank all of you so much for your important testimony today. I'm going to pick up on a couple of things that I've heard repeatedly from multiple witnesses here today. The first part is just around the seriousness, not only of mental health within the communities, but the mental health and the well-being and the burnout of people who are serving those communities in leadership roles and in frontline workers. So I'm just wondering, and if I could start with you, Mr. Blaney or Eric, I knew you would like that, just to talk a little bit about what that would look like and what resources are needed to deal with those on those 2 levels. Because if you, of course, have frontline workers burning out and they're not able to help the larger community, then those concerns will just grow. And then I'll come back to you, Mr. Alsop.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Blaney. Very good last name. So burnout for us is a very tough one because we are a volunteer fire department within the community, yet our community through the treaty negotiated a good amount of money for training and equipment. So we're very fortunate to have what we have in our community, and a number of the other communities that I work with do not have a volunteer fire department. So those are the ones that I worry about because there is no emergency operations center training for many communities, and there is no incident command training for many of those communities. So when they're expected to step into a system that EMBC with the task number and then looking for the funding, they don't even know which paperwork to use. So I think, when that transition happened for Indigenous services to pass the torch over to EMBC to manage emergencies within the province here, there was a major step missed in that there wasn't as much consultation that should have happened. And there's been a real lack of training for frontline workers to participate in this paramilitary organized system. So I think what needs to happen is they need access to a roving emergency planning coordinator trainer or some helps to go into these communities and assist them in navigating the management system that's been put in place for us.
Thank you so much. Mr. Alsop, if you could just talk about those concerns in your own region in Haida Gwaii.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I think I share similar feedback that the training is really important to be able to have the fill-ins and multiple people fill the number of positions you need within that incident command structure, and to understand the roles and responsibilities and all the functions. I know, similar here, we've had volunteer fire department involved in both pieces, and again, very few people who already do other things in the community. And I think there's the immediate issue, but I also anticipate a number of people, when we come through the pandemic, may start stepping aside and taking a break from this kind of work, and needing to cultivate that next generation as well of our community members to step in and fill these roles. And so I think it's not only a COVID need, but an opportunity to continue to build capacity in emergency response, paramedics, first responders, and also creates economic opportunities going forward for our membership. So there's an immediate need, but also an opportunity to look forward, and also, as I mentioned in my opening, look at what services we are outsourcing now, and how can we put in training, mentoring, education plans to get young people to fill those positions and know what those opportunities are to be supporting the community and picking up the roles and filling the shoes of those who are going to be burnt out and want to take a break and spend time with family and are retiring and moving on as well.
Thank you. I see that a lot in the communities I represent, and that need to sort of see people trained in those local opportunities right here in our community. So I thank you for that. Dr. McDonald, I'm just wondering if you have anything you would like to add. You oversee so many of the nations. I would love to hear.
I think the biggest thing that I hear about right now is surge capacity. Our nurses, especially on the front line, are burning out, not only the FNHA nurses, but the staff in community who are trying to deal with not only the COVID emergency, but the health needs of the community generally. We are certainly struggling in accessing physician resources. I know I'm desperately trying to find another public health doc to support my team to be able to do this work. Between March and the end of June, I worked 900 hours of overtime. Though those are, it's my commitment. This is what I trained for, but it's not sustainable. And so we really need to consider the sustainability of this kind of effort. It's been 9 months of really hard work, and it's certainly not just me or my team, it's everybody. And I'm especially concerned about our care providers on the front line.
Thank you.
Just about out of time, Ms. Blaney.
Mr. Johnson, if there's anything you'd like to add, and also I agree around the housing issue, if you could just tell us how important it is again, I guess.
Sure, and thanks for the invitation. I know we're almost out of time, but I know Canada recently announced this Rapid Housing Initiative, which I think is a positive sign that Canada views housing as a stimulus and a worthwhile investment. The issue is for our communities, $500 million for the entire country is not going to be enough to meaningfully assist our communities. So that's why we've targeted this proposal in, and we started this work back in April. All the self-governing groups came together and said, what's our priority coming out of this pandemic? And it was housing. And so we started the work back then in April, pulled together all the data, had an independent firm compile it and put it in kind of, federal government speak, or like the Treasury Board, Finance Department, the kind of format that they would resonate with them. And so we've kind of all pulled together. So it's a self-governing, Indigenous government-made solution, and it's consistent with the I guess motive behind the rapid housing.
I'm sorry, we're well over time, and we're going to have to extend into the next hour, which will impact on the time of our next panel. So, but we're dealing with all sorts of problems, mostly technical. Sorry about that. Mr. Viersen, you are up now for 5 minutes. Please go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank our witnesses for being here today. My questions are mostly for the executives that are on, the community executives that we've got on today. I can start with Mr. Blaney or Mr. Johnson. I'm just wondering around the schools in your communities, have they continued to be open, and where are they at right now?
Yeah, so when we went into our lockdown, our community daycare center was closed down. So we don't have any community schools on our former reserve lands, but we do have a tutoring center that was also closed down. When we went into lockdown, all of our kids were kept home from the public school system, which many of our kids go to. They experienced some pretty harsh racism, given that we were, having an outbreak within the community. So even when the lockdown ended, a number of our kids were welcome to go back to school, but they experienced a lot of bullying and racism, being called the COVID kids going back to school. So a number of parents have decided to keep their kids home, and we're working on a plan to try and figure out tutoring as well as getting their schoolwork to them at their home and making sure there's proper wellness checks done on those kids within the community.
Yeah, and I would just add that we do, like Eric said, we have this tutoring center, and we've assigned teachers to be stationed in the tutoring center, and there are kids within the school system that are able to register and come to this tutoring center to work on their schoolwork instead of going to the public schools. It's I guess a comfort level type thing, and as Eric mentioned, they're facing kind of some backlash in the schools. But what we've seen from our lockdown is that our kids are quite a bit behind. My wife works in the school district and is in Indigenous education, and so I kind of get the updates there from on the ground, and it's really, we've been set back quite a bit, and I think it's as a potential solution. I think is just a greater investment in having that. We've only got one teacher actually right now manning our tutoring center, and so that needs perhaps more resources made available, and just we're concerned about what this means for the students this year. They're, like I said, they're falling behind. They were falling behind before, and now with the pandemic, it's been worsened.
Thank you, Mr. Assop. How's things in your community in regards to schooling, and we've been hearing reports from around the world. Some countries have never shut down the schools. Other places have, they're missing their second school year. What's the situation in your community, and is there any recommendations you have?
Yeah, I guess in the before the summer break, obviously there was a shutdown, and then in June was a slow kind of reopening again, and we found in that case that many of our Haida or Indigenous students did not return at that time, as the parents were quite concerned and felt, they've been off that long that they might as well be safe. And many other students from our neighboring communities did return, but the teachers in the school district did take a position that it would be equal education, whether you're doing it online at home or in the classroom, to try to avoid that imbalance. Since the return to school, we do have two schools on reserve. One is a community-run band school in Old Masset, and one is in the community of Skidegate on reserve, but is provincially run. And what we did try to do was coordinate the reopening of the schools for the same time, as we were coming out of an outbreak as well in early September. So we delayed opening an additional 2 weeks to allow the school more time to prepare and the community to prepare. I guess what I would say is, I think it creates a lot of anxiety and forces community to be much more careful because of the close-knit nature. And I think there's great opportunity to look at developing more resources and supports for not only online options to bring others into the classroom to teach remotely from community teachers, but also to explore outdoor education opportunities and support safe transportation so that we can get the kids out and be learning on the land and not feeling cooped up in that environment.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, how much time do I have left?
30 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Well, I just wanted, I've been seeing it from around the world. Folks have been saying that there's interrupted learning, the nutrition value that students have been receiving has been changing. There's been confusion and stress, like interfamily violence and things like that. And I don't think that that's any different here in Canada. I know that the United Nations is making the recommendations that schools should no longer be shut down just to avoid all of these things. So just wanted to get that on the record. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Well, certainly. Thank you very much, Mr. Viersen. I'm going to ask for the indulgence of the committee now. We have another panel. If we continue the complete round of questioning, we'll probably lose 15 minutes of that panel. So I'm going to ask for the unanimous. We've had great questions, great responses, and all of the submissions, of course, at the beginning. So do I have unanimous consent to thank our current panelists, suspend briefly to organize the next panel, and carry on with the second hour? Otherwise, when we hit 1 o'clock, we're going to lose some of our people as it is due to time constraints and virtual house. So do we have unanimous consent? Can I see thumbs up? And I thank you. I believe we have unanimous consent. And I want to thank our panelists. I'm sorry about the time. That's always an issue with committees, but we're based on a lot of other influences on the way we organize our meetings. So I want to thank you all once again. This has been a tremendous hour. I'm going to suspend now for a few minutes while we arrange our next panel. Thank you. We once again call this meeting to order and resume the study for Indigenous communities through a second wave of COVID-19. And first up for 6 minutes is Professor Michelle Dreger. Professor, would you please go ahead for 6 minutes?
Good morning, bonjour. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before you all today. My name is Michelle Dreger, and I'm a professor in the Department of Community Health Sciences at the University of Manitoba. It is important to note that while I am a proud Manitoba Métis citizen and do research in partnership with the Manitoba Métis Federation Health and Wellness Department, I do not speak for the Manitoba Métis Federation. It is from my understanding in inquiring why I was asked to provide testimony today that my invitation was identified based on research work that I have done with the Manitoba Métis Federation, both from research carried out during pandemic H1N1 as well as COVID-19.
Ms. Dreger, would you move your microphone up just slightly? There's a bit
slightly?
of...
Is that
there,
better?
That's good. That's good.
Okay. Yeah. As much of my COVID-19 research is under review still with the Métis Federation, I will be providing most lessons learned from pandemic H1N1 and to provide context on how to engage with existing community infrastructure as I know it. I will also share some broad lessons from pandemic H1N1 that can be applied to COVID-19. At times in my testimony, I may make references to First Nations, Métis, or Indigenous peoples. I will only use Indigenous peoples when making more general statements, as much as possible when something from my research was specific to First Nations or Métis, I will identify it as such. In developing a lot of my research around pandemic H1N1 and prior to even having the vaccine rollout, I was invited to a Northern Fly-in First Nations community in Manitoba data collection to demonstrate both our strategy to engage Indigenous peoples was both appropriate and of benefit. Too often researchers have gone into communities and have done extractionist research, taking knowledge that is gifted to them by Indigenous peoples for their own academic gains. What we learned is that First Nations participants shared a lot of their concerns and their fears of the impact of a novel virus entering their community and having devastating impact.
Sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt. Just move it up again a little bit. We're getting quite a little more, right up another inch.
Up to my nose?
Almost. Try that.
Okay. All right. So they were talking about having lack of adequate health support, and we're even staff from
down an inch, down a half an inch. Yeah, there.
We're familiar with how the virus spread. Is that better?
Yeah. Yes.
And what people could do to protect themselves. We answered a lot of questions, as many as we also asked of participants. And we also went back to community to share things through school presentations, as well as through a call-in TV station that they had local within the community. And with that example, and the reason I use it, is to highlight the important lesson of not only engaging with communities through partnership, but also making use of existing communication infrastructure in areas where cell phone and internet coverage may be poor. When I also started on the work with the Manitoba Métis Federation, I was asked to also conduct an evaluation of an intervention that had been developed specific between the Métis Federation and the Manitoba Health Government. One of the things to understand during pandemic H1N1 is that part of the response tables involved not just the standard public health and surveillance tables, but there was also a social justice and equity table, as well as specific engagement with Indigenous peoples, specifically the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, INAN, Health Canada, and the Province of Manitoba. But there was no seat at the table for the Métis Federation, despite that they represent 40% of Manitoba's Indigenous population. The Métis Federation had to advocate hard to be included in these Indigenous response tables, and part of their success is owed to the strong research capacity that they had in partnership with the university to create at that time the very first Métis Atlas in Manitoba that documented Métis health status alongside other Manitobans. And it was one of the first times that the Métis Federation could provide some evidence and document similar experiences and outcomes to First Nations citizens. What is important to understand is that the Métis live diffusely in the province, with approximately half of our citizens living in Winnipeg and the rest living in the broader Red River settlement areas along the lake systems where Métis depend on access to the land for survival. And if you were to look at a distribution map of First Nations reserves, you would also see alongside, and a map alongside of Métis communities, you would see that they are quite close in proximity, particularly in the northern parts of the province. And while on a First Nations reserve, you might have access to a health center, Métis citizens often have to access health services, much like other Manitobans do, through provincial health offices that might be available in larger centers. This means that Métis and smaller communities and more isolated communities have to travel considerable distances to access primary care, as well as seek more specialized care. And this travel has to be covered out of pocket. Métis do not receive benefits from First Nations Inuit Health Branch, such as access to medical van transportation, as an example. And this was something that was frequently raised in focus groups that I was conducting in different Métis communities about why they would.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
One of the things within the pandemic and the response tables was how vaccine prioritization was received. There was a great deal of distrust in how things were prioritized and where it was felt that vaccine was being tested on Indigenous bodies to make sure it was safe to give to the white guys. And that was how participants put it. So things that we need to take away is how logistics planning tables have to be done in partnership and engaging communities in order to have trust. Locals and communities know better how to reach their citizens and how to implement response measures better than if it's just being done from federal and provincial response tables without that local integration. We need to consider all of the logistics associated with vaccine rollout, as well as public acceptance and uptake, so that it is not seen within a colonial, distrusting light. I
We'll
will
have to
stop
leave
there.
it there. Thanks very much, Professor Dreger. Chief Jennifer Bone and Director Christopher Hersack of the Dakota Oyate Lodge, you have 6 minutes. Please go ahead. Do we have our witnesses? Okay, let's go to Chief Ronald Mitswing. Mr. Chief Mitswing, are you hooked up?
Yes, I am. Can you hear
Go
me?
ahead. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Go ahead for 6 minutes, and then we'll catch up with our other guests.
Yeah. Well, anyway, since this pandemic started, our school's been closed about 4 times already because one of our EAs got into contact with somebody, and then we had to shut the school down. And right now, the school reopened up yesterday, but we only had 6 students. I believe today there's only 4. The parents are pretty concerned of the virus, so they're keeping their children at home. And on a personal note, my 2 children attend a town school, so they go to school every day. So we only had 1 positive there so far, but they only send that classroom home, not the whole school. And I will tell you the truth that when the school started, my kids were already a week before it opened up. They were so happy to go back to school. And I know this virus affects our kids on the First Nations here because they consider that school a safe house, also help learning. And I am pretty concerned about them right now. They're all at home. I don't know what's happening with the rest of the 400 students at home with all the domestic violence we have going on the reserve here. So alcohol has become a big factor, the drugs. We do have security, but they can only do so much. We can't enforce our bylaws with the RCMP. We need our own prosecutor to do that. So that's one of the challenges we face too. Our security can only do so much. They can break up the house parties, but they can't actually go in there and into those houses and kick out all those people there. But they can tell them to quit. That's about all they can do, because it's not enforceable by law. So if we can maybe draft up our own BCRs and our bylaws, and then maybe we can get help legally. Like right now, the curfew too is not really helping us because the people know that we can't enforce the law. So we prevent out of town members from coming in, and then they always get mad that they have family members here, but they find a way to get in. We're caught in there's a highway here that goes through the town of Loon Lake, and it also goes north. So we don't have control of those highways because they're provincials. If they gave us permission maybe to do checkpoints on there, then we could actually control the amount of people coming in. The town of Loon Lake has the same concern there. They're worried about this virus. There's nobody on the streets anymore, except on our First Nation. But the biggest concern I have is all the mental wellness, what the kids are going through right now, and the parents. So, and we do have a community scan going. I haven't got that report yet, as of yet, but I'm hearing some bad things already on there. So there's got to find a way to bring out these people to reach out to us. They're not reaching out to us, so we have to go into those homes and find the problems of what they're facing each day. So that's where we're at. We had a big concern of suicides yet, but we had 4 since the youth suicides. We had 4 middle-aged people commit suicide since then. We do have 4 therapists constantly 24-hour call, but they'll also be burning out. We got 7 therapists in total, and they do deal with over 100 cases in between them. Worried also about our nurses right now with the pandemic here. Scared they might burn out when things start going rough. We're only 1 case away from being considered an outbreak, so then we have to go into lockdown, and we don't know what that entails yet. So that's going to cause more anguish for our people. So our guys too are dealing with some forestry companies on the south of our reserve. They're coming into our traditional lands and not allowing us to hunt over there because they're deforesting right now. That's where most of our hunters are getting their meat sources from. Used to get trappers. So we have lots of battles going on, and then on the school note, we don't have a cell tower west of Loon Lake here, so we have about 50 houses that don't have internet to do online learning. So with the province announcing 74 towers and none of them landing on First Nations was a big step backwards for this reconciliation for us anyway. So,
Chief, your testimony is very descriptive, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us. We're just about at time now, so I'll thank you for now. Questions will come, but right now, Chief Jennifer Bone, are you ready to go now? Please go ahead. 6 minutes. Sorry, Chief, we're not hearing you. Let's try that again. Mr. Clerk, I'm not hearing anything.
Yes, because of the system they're using, we can't identify what device they have selected, nor can we see whether they've muted on their end or not, but it appears they have.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear out of this headphone? Hello, testing.
I hear something. Who's talking?
Hello. Hi. Did you switch to mine?
I can hear somebody now. Is that you, Chief Bone?
Can you hear me? This is Chief Bone.
Go ahead. You're on.
Okay,
and you
good.
sound
Thank
good.
you.
Go ahead.
Hami Takipi, thank you to the Standing Committee on Indigenous and Northern Affairs for the invitation to speak today. My name is Chief Jennifer Bone, and I represent Sioux Valley Dakota Nation in Manitoba. As I present before you, I ask for you to hear me with an open mind and heart. 2020 has been an incredibly difficult year for many of us. It's widely known that the COVID-19 pandemic does not differentiate between nationality, gender, religion, wealth, or the economies and markets it affects. We as a self-governing nation can attest to this. Dramatic challenges have impacted businesses in every part of the country, and in this context, Sioux Valley Dakota Nation was not spared. Still, the COVID-19 pandemic hangs over our community. It has brought economic activity to a standstill and has resulted in dramatic declines in community growth and self-reported indices of well-being. It has also brought this theme into a sharp focus. The loss of livelihood, social isolation, and fear of contracting the virus have created fear and anxiety among our people, which has led to mental illnesses with a state exacerbation of chronic disease, deepening addictions, and other types of severe illnesses. With a state of emergency announced in October due to a suicide contagion, our Oyate has mourned in loneliness. The severity of COVID-19 illness and subsequent risk of death is increased among those of us with underlying health conditions such as cardiovascular, cancer, pulmonary, renal, and endocrine comorbidity. Reductions in healthcare access will differentially impact on Indigenous populations for non-COVID-19 outcomes for which we already have inequities. Combine this with excessive ambulance wait times and a bleak situation is further worsened Action beyond the health system is vital to reduce such health injustices. Equally, as an Indigenous community, as we have known since before its onset, the impact of the pandemic and responses to it are not felt equally by different groups. Differential access to health care as a result of colonization and racism plays an important role in the creation and maintenance of inequities in health for Indigenous populations. The main priority in today's scenario has been to save the lives of individuals. This can be accomplished in part by creating awareness amongst them to follow social distancing measures and maintaining proper hygiene. Socially isolating is easier for people with spacious homes, with areas to walk and rely on reserve people living in overcrowding conditions with few or unsafe open areas, lack of running water, and inadequate access to the internet have been and will continue to be more vulnerable to the negative effects of isolation measures. Social distancing and personal hygiene requirements have highlighted a legacy of housing neglect. Through the collaborative fiscal policy process, self-governing Indigenous governments have provided Canada with concrete evidence of gaps that exist between our communities and other non-Indigenous communities in Canada. We have hired experts in infrastructure and housing to provide factual information. Yet Canada continues to underperform on its promises to resolve long-standing issues in these areas. Our most urgent need at this point is adequate housing, both in terms of repairs required for healthy living, as well as new housing to help with overcrowding. Within Sioux Valley, the impacts evolving from COVID-19 is causing extensive social, psychological, and economic damage. Far from being just a disruption, the pandemic is an indication of the urgent need to reset economic, industrial relations, health, and other policy sectors. Those of our members holding insecure and casual jobs have been the first to be laid off and face unemployment with its attendant mental and physical health effects. Overall, the pandemic will almost certainly increase inequities both between and within our members, both on and off reserve. As a consequence of the widespread unemployment generated by the pandemic, our people continue to suffer systemically. Eliminating all forms of mistreatment, such as discrimination by reason of race or social class, should constitute the cross-cutting axis of all responses formulated by the Standing Committee to halt the spread of the virus within Indigenous communities. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada called on the federal government to close the gap in health outcomes between Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities and for the recognition of Indigenous healing practices. Like many Indigenous nations, Sioux Valley had stepped into this jurisdictional fear in response to COVID-19 with limited resources and funding. Some broad issues for deliberation have already been identified, including the rebuilding public health care infrastructure, protection of workers' welfare, promotion of community voice and ownership of key instrumentalities, and more effective measures addressing inequality. The history of First Nation relationship with industry has been one of give and take. First Nations gave and industry took. This cannot continue today. I thank you again for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, Chief Bone, and thanks for noticing the time, because we're in dire straits as we try to get our round of questioning in before sign off, and we have some business to do as well. And once again, if there's anything that our witnesses wish to share and doesn't come up within the round of questioning, please submit it in writing. It will be captured by our analysts in our report. Mr. Vidal, you are up for 6 minutes. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I want to thank all the witnesses for attending today and for your valuable testimony. But I'm going to selfishly focus my time on Chief Mitswing this morning because I guess maybe it's afternoon now here. Chief Mitswing is from a community just very close to my hometown. So, Chief, thank you for being willing to come today. And Chief, I know you've experienced so much in the short time I've known you. Your care and your concern and your commitment to your community has been inspiring to me as we've gotten to know each other. And I want to focus on a couple significant things that you've said to me over the last year, Chief, and I know the committee is going to just get such limited knowledge of who you are and what you represent. But Chief, I know we got to know each other when you declared a state of emergency last fall because of a suicide crisis in your community. You've dealt with the drowning of a child this past summer, and you've dealt with. You talked about in your testimony about the 4 suicides of some adult people in your community. One of them being a mother and a grandmother who cared for so many children. And you've talked about the fact that the number of kids in your community that are on your suicide watch list has grown from 40 to over 100 over the course of the last 10 months or so. And there's just so much that you've dealt with. But 2 things I would ask you to just comment on in the short time that we have together. One, when you brought Elder Morningchild to my office to visit with my team here not so long ago, you talked about the impact that CERB was having in your community on things like the mental health and addictions and some of those things. You expressed a concern about that. I'd like you just to expand on that for a minute, but more importantly, I'd like you to talk about one of the solutions that you proposed for your community to deal with the suicide crisis and the children in your community was programming to actually teach people to be parents, to teach mothers to be mothers and fathers to be fathers, and that the kids in your community were begging for the leadership of the family unit. So if you could talk about those 2 things for a few minutes, I think the committee would be well served by your knowledge and what you share from the heart.
Well, thank you, Gary. Yeah, ever since that CERB came along, our addictions has really skyrocketed. Our domestic violence, the record speaks for itself. We went from in 4 months we had 1,148 calls from the RCMP. They couldn't focus on any drug-related activities. They couldn't even have a coffee break. That's what they're saying. And that somewhat alleviated with the security coming on. They can at least have a coffee break. But the area really took a toll was in the addictions area. We had a lot of people having a lot of money they never had before. They can just spend it any way they want, and the children actually suffered more from that. I lost, I think it was 5 friends due to alcohol. We just buried one here recently. 2 of them here just this past weekend. And then, so alcohol is a big major contributing factor of our people with their addictions. And right now, it's all our centers are closed, even our AA centers. So we have our people. They do try to go out, but they're also scared of the virus. So we're kind of we got to find more people to help in the addictions area. We have 2, but they're kind of scared to go out there too. And then, yes, and Elder Morningchild talked about going back, taking our children back to the culture ways and bringing along the parents with them to learn how did we used to live. Like alcohol wasn't a major problem in my area, but it did some, but not as much as now. And the kids were crying out that they wanted to find their identity, and so this is one of the ways with the community scan is we're trying to get out and maybe do some snaring or teach them how to shoot a gun so they can shoot grouse, and then when they're older they can learn how to hunt on their own. And also in our ceremonies we're trying to get them back to singing groups, because we hardly have any of that right now, because all the addictions got some of our people that are skilled in the traditional areas too. So our young are very important, and we got to teach them how to become self-sufficient and help their future also when they're older. Another thing we wanted to touch on was the other chief was yes, we do have a severe housing shortage all over. we have young families that are living with their parents, and they have kids of their own, and they don't have nowhere to go. So we're caught in that housing situation also. Like, if a kid goes to school from a happy home, he'll be happy to learn all day. They won't have that overcrowding to deal with, where he can study and just try to upgrade his skills.
Chief, thank you for sharing that testimony with us. And we go now to Mr. Batiste for 6 minutes.
I just want to start off by thanking the chiefs for your testimony today. It's been difficult to hear for me. I live in Eskasoni, the largest Mi'kmaq reserve in Atlantic Canada, of close to 5,000 people, and we're just seeing and getting prepared for the second wave that you're already dealing with. And I remember the first wave saw blockades put up in my community, curfews put in place, ceremonies canceled, sporting events. These are things that are kept our communities going and kept us resilient for generations. And I'm just trying to get a sense of, hearing about all of your testimonies of all the things that are going on, with the powwows canceled, with the sporting events that as well. It's just so disheartening for vulnerable communities. And I can relate to a lot of what you described, because I have a son who goes to school on a non-reserve school and goes to school 2 days a week because they can't accommodate any more than that. So I'm just trying to get a sense of, I know that Indigenous people are some of the resilient people in Canada. I know we've gone through so much. We've gone through pandemics before, never like this, but I'm trying to get a sense of what our government can do in the short term, really, but also what are you hearing for best practices as we approach all of Indigenous communities across Canada, approach this second wave that's difficult? So I'm just trying to figure out if there's any best practices out there, anything that we're hearing in their communities that can give other communities hope as how to adapt and survive this. Thank you for the chiefs.
Who's this for?
Either chiefs are fine. Chief Mitzwing, you want to start off?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead.
Yep. Well, our first plan was to try and get our own people trained to deal with the suicide crisis, and also trying to go to these families and try work with them on a day-to-day basis. But we don't have enough staff for that, so we were trying to group them together, but always something came up, like some disaster after another. So we couldn't get that going. We were going to have some workshops, and a death would happen, and that cut us off, and then we couldn't gather as much. This summer we had only one Sundance where there a lot of people attended, but it was pretty safe the way they set it up. And we couldn't have too many of those. But our idea is trying to settle the kids down for now and then work on the parents is what our plan is. We need to teach them to become parents and try and help out their youth as much as possible. Even with this addictions, they got to reach out, and we need people to go out there and talk to them. We don't have the training right now because everything keeps getting cut off. Our suicide training, I think we only had 1.5 course so far. But anyway, our plan is to try and train our band members so we can look after ourselves after. So we'll have people here 24 hours. That's our plan. Hopefully it works.
Two minutes, Jaime.
Chief, thank you for that. And our community went through the same crisis a few years back. And what we did was establish a crisis center with with our own community members who could speak in our own language to help other people. And we started that 15 years ago, and we still have it today in our community. If you'd reach out to Eskasoni Crisis Center, they might be able to offer some suggestions on how to deal with these crises. But I'm wondering if you could comment a little bit about what the loss of ceremony and the loss of these gatherings have meant to your communities.
Comment, I can comment on that. Normally in our community, we host, there's different families that come together and they host their annual Sundances here in the community. Unfortunately, those were canceled. I think there was about 4 of them that were canceled throughout the summer. Sweat lodges, ceremony, those are things that have definitely been a huge impact by COVID here in the community. The Dakota people here in Sioux Valley rely heavily on prayer and ceremony, so that's definitely affected us. We have an incident commander that works with the leadership and all our managers here in the community, and we were able to come up with some solutions to help people to address their spiritual needs, but still maintaining social distancing and all of the safety precautions. Back in October, we had a 4-day sacred fire that was monitored by the community, where all community members were able to come and go so that the gathering numbers were still kept on a minimum, and they were able to offer their prayers and prayer ties, that sort of thing. So those are some of the things that we have tried to incorporate into the community so that they still are able to reach out for assistance through that way of the ceremonial life.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks very much. And Madam Berube,
6 minutes for you. My question is for Chief Bone. You talked about the fact that in your community, it's very difficult with the pandemic right now, and that Canada is not respecting their promises regarding housing. According to you, what could the federal government do right now to mitigate the number of cases in Manitoba and in your community?
I would comment on that. I think that the issue of overcrowding in not only in Sioux Valley, but in every other First Nation needs to be addressed. In Sioux Valley, cross our fingers here, we currently have no active cases here in the community. And I attribute that to effective communication of our management team and learning different communication styles to communicate to the elderly, to our younger people, a lot on social media, radio, door to door, just really educating our community about the virus and encouraging them to take precaution. We are in a lockdown right now, but people can still come and go freely. Unfortunately, we have 2 provincial highways that run through our community, which doesn't allow us to set up any kind of blockades, but we're just taking those measures with our community and educating them is important, because then they know when they come to us and actually ask if, are we allowed to do this? Can we do this? What are the precautions around that? So, it's working for us, I think, right now.
Merci. Ma question.
Thank you. Professor Dreger, so you are a research chair on H1N1, but regarding the pandemics, what is the current situation right now?
In Manitoba, based on our current case rates, even though Indigenous people make up about 10% of the provincial population, they are representing about 20% of the provincial cases and almost 68% of ICU bed occupancy. So Indigenous peoples are experiencing a much more severe outcome associated with exposure to COVID-19. And while many of our First Nations communities, not all of them, but some of them have been able to successfully close their borders because they don't have provincial roads going through them, that same efforts do not exist for Métis communities. because they don't have any control on any of the lands other than their own personal property. And Métis citizens don't have access to any kind of housing programs that exist for First Nations and Inuit communities. But there are equally similar problems associated with overcrowding, poor ventilation, poverty, and other socioeconomic circumstances that affect those communities in the same way as they affect our First Nations relatives.
Merci.
Thank you. Do I still have time, Mr. Chair? Yes, 2 minutes. Okay. Chief Meeting, you spoke about schools that are closed. How did you succeed in reducing the numbers? And you said that parents were worried. You said that children were happy about the returning to school. But how were you able to avoid problems regarding the closing of schools?
Did you get that, Chief? Mute.
Oh, I didn't understand it. I don't have a translator on here.
There's a translation button. It's a globe in the middle of the bottom of the screen, and it go to English, and then you would have heard the translation. But Madame Bérubé, could you repeat your question?
Oui.
Okay, I'll repeat. You talked about the fact that you closed the schools 4 times. What has been the impact regarding this closing of schools and effects on parents that were worried?
Well, the impacts we have is the kids had nothing to do because our sports were shut down, and you know, we do have overcrowding, so the kids are always going to be fighting, and the parents are always trying to cook, and then there's also some parents that are doing the bad stuff, and the kids are caught in there. They don't have nowhere to go. They consider the school as a safe house. So when we shut down our school, that's not a good thing. But today we have a pandemic meeting going on. I'm hoping they reconsider and just keep the school open. After this meeting, I'll go in there and I'll ask if they can keep the school open. But that's another situation is the Saskatchewan health officer, if he shuts us down, then now what do I do?
Right.
I'm playing with safety.
Chief, thank you for. And we have 6 minutes now with Miss Blaney. Go ahead, please.
Well, thank you, Chair. And I first of all want to start off by thanking all of the witnesses for your important testimony today. If I could start with you, Professor Judger. One of the things that you talked about was the vaccine prioritization and some of the concerns that were actually heard earlier today by the doctor that was representing First Nations Health Authority, of folks feeling fairly sure that they were going to be like guinea pigs, is what she said. And I'm just wondering if you could talk about what you're hearing from communities on that.
Well, certainly when we were engaging with community around H1N1 vaccine, and one of the differences in Manitoba compared to federally is that the Public Health Agency of Canada, when it had been making its recommendations during H1N1, was to prioritize people living in remote and isolated communities. So they used geography as a criteria. In Manitoba, because of the different response tables and that they had, they thought prioritizing by Indigenous ancestry was the way to proceed. But that was actually received with a great deal of distrust, and particularly feeling that this was yet another way of getting rid of the Indian problem. I don't know if that same level of distrust in that way is going to carry forward with COVID-19, and it's something that we're going to be learning in the next couple of months as we engage in some of the work. but that colonial legacy and that colonial distrust is very strong. And even though there was senior leadership informing the H1N1 response at the time, on reflection, they thought, well, yeah, I guess you can understand some of the conspiracy sentiment, because when have First Nations, Inuit, and Métis ever been put first in line to receive something good? So it's really underscores the need of trying to do that engagement and having those conversations openly now before the vaccine is even available, so that it is received in a better way.
Thank you. If I could come to you next, Chief Bone, I really appreciate what you had to tell us today. One of the things that I heard very clearly is that housing and housing repairs continue to be a significant issue. And as you're dealing with just everyday concerns, it's an issue, but adding COVID to the mix has sort of raised it to that next level. I'm just wondering if you could speak a little bit about what are the gaps in your community around housing, and what sort of resources do you need to deal with both housing and the housing repairs? Thank you.
Thank you. For our community, I would say we have over 75 families on a waiting list for new housing, or any housing that should become available. Like, we have absolutely no vacancies within our community. So those are some of the challenges that we have. And we have had in some cases where we had to self-isolate some families, and which required us to take them off reserve. So they were self-isolating in hotels in Brandon. Because of the overcrowding conditions, we weren't able to self-isolate the family unit within the home. So because of the overcrowding, so then, we've had several cases like that where we've had to remove individuals from the community and self-isolate them within hotels. And that is a cost to the nation as well.
Thank you. That's incredibly helpful. I know that one of the other challenges, of course, for remote communities, and especially remote Indigenous communities, is the access to reliable, and often it's more unreliable, internet. I'm just wondering, knowing that a lot of people are trying to deliver health services now through virtual means, knowing that education has moved much more to a virtual window, are there any challenges that you're experiencing? And Chief Bone, if you don't mind starting, and then I'll come to Chief Mitswing.
We are actually our own internet service provider here in the community, and we're actually looking at some upgrades to our technology and hoping to move towards more fiber within our community. We're doing some upgrades to our buildings for enable us to do better business here in our community. Our school has been closed since March. Our students have been out of school. They're doing homework packages and online learning. So we're really working towards upgrading our technology for the community members. So our students are still connecting with their teachers on the regular. We closed our school completely once again on November 10th. We did reopen in August to staff only, but due to us being in a critical red zone at this moment, we just shut down our school completely, because a lot of our teachers come from outside of the community. So our students have been doing the homework packages and online learning since March. And we're just encourage our teachers they follow up with the families and students on the regular.
Thank you so much. Chief Mitswing, do you have any challenges with internet connectability?
Yes, we do. We have can you hear me?
Yeah,
we on the west side of our First Nation and the town of Loon Lake, we don't have no internet services. Even though we have a fiber optic cable running by the road there, going through the reserve, we can't tap into it because it's so expensive. I believe it's over 6,000 per house, right? 38,000 per house. We would if we wanted to tap into the fiber optic, but that's way out of our funding arrangements. Like, we have over 50 houses and children in there, and we can't tap into the homeschooling through there. So they do get homework packages, but I don't think that's enough.
That's quite an answer, Chief, and Ms. Blaney. Thank you for the question. Well, to all of our witnesses, it's really an honor for us to receive this information. I wish that all Canadians would be tuned in to hear your testimony. We'll do our best as a committee to working with the analysts to make sure that it is captured in our report. And once again, if there's anything further that you feel needs to be added, please submit it in writing before this weekend, and we'll see that it gets into the report. So once again, thank you all. And before committee, we leave, we have a brief matter of committee business. Adoption of a budget for the study. You received it yesterday. It covers all the costs related to our meetings, including witness expenses. So having looked at that, do I have an agreement, unanimous consent to adopt a proposed budget in the amount of $3,750? Thumbs up, please, for agreement. And I see a room full of thumbs. Thank you very much. Thank you all. It's difficult with the technical issues, but I think we've listened, we've learned, and hopefully we'll be able to enact things that solve many of the problems that we've been hearing. Our next meeting is from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. on Thursday to continue the COVID study. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.